Hi everyone. Notes 1.5 are an equivalent algebraic expressions, and it says to simplify the following algebraic expressions. So in order to be able to simplify these things, the first thing that you're going to want to do is try to distribute. And then after you distribute, you're going to collect or combine any like terms that you see. So sometimes you'll see the directions will say expand and simplify. Expand means to distribute. Simplify means to collect those like terms. Okay, so sometimes you'll see simplify, sometimes you'll see expand and simplify. It all means the same thing. We're actually going to skip question number 1 for right now, and I'd like you to take a look at question number 2. So we're going to start by distributing. So the first thing I see here is this 3 on the outside right here. So I'm going to distribute this 3 through. So 3 times x squared is 3x squared. I'm going to continue distributing this 3 through. So 3 times negative 4 is negative 12. And then 3 times negative 4x is negative 12x. And then I'm going to distribute the 3 through to the 10, and 3 times 10 is positive 30. Now I know I'm going to stop distributing here because my bracket has closed. So that means that I'm done distributing the 3 through. I don't need to distribute 3 through anymore at all. Okay? The next thing that I'm going to do is distribute this minus sign through right here. So see this minus sign? I got to distribute it through to each of the terms inside of my brackets here. Since the 6x was originally positive, the minus sign turns it into a negative. So I write minus 6x down. Then I distribute the minus sign through to the negative 14, and the minus and negative turns into a positive. So this becomes plus 14. And I'm done. I'm done distributing that negative through because the bracket has closed. And then lastly, I have this 3x, and I'm going to multiply the 3x through to the x. Now be very careful because this is technically 3x times 1x. So 3 times 1 is positive 3, but x to the power of 1 times x to the power of 1 is x to the power of 2. And then here, I'm going to do 3x times negative 9, and 3 times negative 9 is negative 27, so 3x times negative 9 is negative 27x. So I'm done with my distributing. Now I need to go through and see, can I collect any like terms? So if I see here, I've got this 3x squared, and just a reminder, like terms means they have to have the same variable and the same exponent. So I've got 3x squared here, I've got 3x squared here. So 3x squared plus 3x squared gives me 6x squared. Okay, 3 plus 3 is 6. And the x squared stays the same because the only time we add our exponents is when we multiply. Also, if I have 3 pens plus another 3 pens, that means I have 6 pens. I don't have 6 of something else. The pens stay the same, okay? And then next terms that are like each other are this negative 12x. So here I've got negative 12x, and here I've got negative 27x. Those are like each other. Oh, and I'm sorry, I also have a negative 6x. So I want to put all of these together, and I'm actually going to use the scoreboard for this. So the negative 12x, team negative won the 12 points. Team negative won these 6 points, and team negative also won these 27 points. So it's very clear that team negative won the game, so I'm going to write down a minus sign here. But by how much? Well, 12 plus 6 is 18, and then 18 plus 27 would give me 45. So this means that team negative wins by 45 points. But because these each have x's on them, I have to say minus 45x. Okay, and then lastly, I have this 30 right here. It's just a constant. It's a regular number. It doesn't have a variable on it, and it's like this 14. So 30 plus 14 is 44. And this is my final simplified answer. All right, everyone, let's take a look at question number 3. And I can understand for 3, you might look at this and say, holy moly, this is really scary. But if we take it little by little, just break it up into little chunks, it's not so bad. So the first term that we have here, you want to be really careful about. This 4 is not connected to anything. So I would just bring this 4 down right here. Okay, a lot of people will try to distribute the 4 through to the 5x plus 7, but I can't do that when the 4 is not connected to the 5x plus 7. So here it is, so I'd be allowed to do it. But because of this minus sign, I cannot do that.
So I just bring this 4 down and it just stays as a 4. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to see this minus sign here and there's brackets that follow it, which means I need to distribute that minus through to each one of these terms. So when I distribute the minus through to the positive 5x, I get a negative 5x. And when I distribute it through to a positive 7, I get a negative 7. And I'm done distributing the negative because this set of brackets is done. It's closed. So now I'm ready to distribute the next term. And the next term that's stuck to the bracket is a 2x. So I'm going to distribute the 2x through. But this is a negative 2x. So I'm going to distribute negative 2x through. So negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. And then I've got x to the power of 1 and x to the power of 2. And when I multiply, I add my exponents. So 1 plus 2 is 3. Then I'm going to distribute the negative 2x through to the 9x. So negative 2 times 9 is negative 18. And then I've got x to the power of 1, x to the power of 1, so I get x to the power of 2. And I'm done distributing here because my bracket has closed. Now I've got this minus sign, and that minus sign has to get distributed through to each one of these 3 terms. So I'd like you to please try to distribute that negative through. Press pause, distribute that negative through, and then press play to see how you did.
So this negative to positive 5x squared becomes negative 5x squared. The negative to positive 11x becomes negative 11x. And then this negative to positive 8 becomes a negative 8. Now, the next number that needs to get distributed through is the 7. So 7 times x is positive 7x, and 7 times 1 is positive 7. And then lastly, we have this plus sign, and I'm going to distribute the plus sign through. But honestly, when I have a plus sign there, nothing really changes because when I add 2x squared, it still stays 2x squared. When I add 9x, it still stays 9x. When I add the 11, it still stays positive 11. All right, cool. So now that we've gotten to this point, I can start to collect my like terms. And as I'm collecting my like terms, I'm going to try to put this in descending order. So I'm going to start with the highest exponent, which is x to the power of 3. And there's nothing else like that, so I'm just going to copy that down. Then I'm going to go to the next highest exponent, which is x to the power of 2. So if you see here, I've got negative 18x squared, and I'm actually going to use the scoreboard for this. So negative 18x squared, team negative won the 18 points. Negative 5x squared, team negative won the 5 points. And then 2x squared, team positive won those 2 points. So here I can see team negative won 23 points. Team positive won 2 points. So team negative won by 21 points. So this is minus 21x squared. Okay. Next thing that I'm going to put together are my x's. So here I see this negative 5x is like this negative 11x. And actually, let's do our scoreboard here. So I've got that team negative won these 5 points right here. Team negative won these 11 points right here. Team positive won these 7 points right here, and team positive won these 9 points right here. So I can see that team negative won 16 points, team positive won 16 points, which means that nobody won the game, okay? There's no more positives than there are negatives or vice versa. So I would have 0x. But I don't have to write down 0x. I can just not write down any x's at all. And then let's talk about our constants, our regular numbers. So here we have positive 4. So team positive won those 4 points. A negative 7, team negative won those 7 points. A negative 8, team negative won those 8 points. Positive 7, team positive won those 7 points. And positive 11, team positive won those 11 points. So altogether, I can see here that team negative won 15 points and team positive won 22 points, which means that team positive wins the game by 7 points. So I can just write plus 7 right here. Quick note, we can also just say this minus 7 and this plus 7 cancel each other out. So here we would have 8. Here we would have 15, and 15 is still bigger than 8 by 7. And there's no other like terms, so this right here is my final answer. I'd like you to please try question number 1 before you come to class, see how you do that, and then we'll talk about it in class. And that's it for this video. Hope everything's good and we'll see you soon.